So, have you ever fallen down one of those internet rabbit holes? You know, the ones with endless compilations of so-called true anonymous horror stories? Well, today we're diving headfirst into that world. We're going to treat these tales as a kind of digital folklore, and, well, we're going to tear them apart to find the common threads, the patterns that make up a modern ghost story. So, let's pull back the curtain and see what's really going on here.
And it usually starts with a moment just like this, a moment of absolute bone-chilling terror. This quote from someone who says they woke up at 2 a.m. to this scene, it just perfectly sets the stage. It's about that violation of your safest space, right when you're most vulnerable. And that's the kind of deeply personal horror we're going to be looking at.
You know, for centuries, we told scary stories around campfires. Well, today, that campfire is global. It's lit by the glow of our phones and our computer screens. These aren't just spooky videos we're talking about. This is a living, breathing collection of our shared anxieties. It's a new kind of folklore being written in real time by thousands of people we'll never know.
And that's really the core question for us today. I mean, if we strip away the jump scares, if we look at all these stories as a huge data set, what patterns start to emerge? What do the similarities in these thousands of tales actually tell us about what we, as a society, are collectively afraid of right now?
All right, so first up, let's look at how all these stories create these modern digital campfires.
So the first and by far the most common category is the classic haunted house. I mean, this taps into such a fundamental fear, right? What happens when your home, the one place on Earth you're supposed to be safe, turns on you? It's a theme as old as storytelling itself, but it takes on a really specific shape in these modern accounts.
What's so interesting here is there's this clear escalation of terror. It always starts subtly. You hear unexplained noises, like violent banging on a door at 3 a.m. when nobody's there. Then it gets weirder. Objects start moving. One story talks about finding all the kitchen chairs gathered in a circle in the middle of the room. From there, it builds to seeing a full apparition, like a red-tented figure in a dark hallway. And then finally, it becomes physical. You get direct contact, like waking up to the feeling of a hand pressing down on your bed.
And what's wild is that across dozens, even hundreds of these stories, the same warning signs pop up again and again. It's almost like a haunted house checklist. You've got doors opening and closing by themselves, that constant unnerving feeling that someone is watching you. So many people report waking up right around 3 a.m., what some people call the witching hour. And of course, the whispers you can't quite make out. And the really scary stuff, like waking up with unexplained scratches on your body. It's this constant repetition that makes all these individual stories feel like they're part of something bigger.
All right, let's move to our next category. See, sometimes the threat is in the house itself. Sometimes it's something we bring inside, something we willingly invite right into our sanctuary. This whole theme is about the danger of curiosity.
And this quote, this just perfectly captures that moment of invitation turning into invasion. This comes from a story where a woman and her sister used a Ouija board to try and contact their mom who had recently passed away. But that's not what they reached. Instead, they made contact with some aggressive entity that started claiming the woman's unborn child, who turned out to be the narrator of the story, as its own. Mine, mine, mine. That single event supposedly kicked off a lifetime of paranormal torment.
Or get this story. A family brings home these ancient 400-year-old vases from a trip to Peru. Almost immediately, their lives just fall apart. We're talking job losses, sudden sickness, car accidents, a complete tidal wave of misfortune. They talk to a museum expert who suggests the vases are cursed and need to be sent back. So the family actually performs a blood ritual, smears their blood on the vases, and mails them back to Peru. And just like that, their luck completely turns around. It's a textbook cursed object narrative.
And that's the key thing, right? A cursed object can be anything. In the stories we looked at, it's a porcelain doll that moves around the house by itself. It's a voodoo doll from New Orleans that gets so active it forces a family to pack up and move. Or it could be something as simple as a Ouija board you find in a closet. The item itself isn't the scary part. It's the unknown history, the malevolent force that it's supposedly carrying with it.
Okay, this brings us to our third and honestly maybe the most terrifying theme, the personal haunting. This is when the entity isn't attached to a place, it isn't attached to an object, it's attached to a person. It's an unshakable shadow that follows you no matter where you go.
And that is the question that defines this whole type of haunting. Think about it. If the ghost is in the house, you can move. If it's a cursed doll, you can get rid of it. But what do you do when the haunting is attached to you? That represents a total loss of control, a complete loss of any sanctuary anywhere.
Let's look at two really powerful examples here.
On one side, you have a story about a black man entity. This thing haunts a narrator from her childhood home, disappears for years, and then reappears on the roof of her new house hundreds of miles away, whispering, "I found you." On the other side, a story about a hospital demon that supposedly attaches itself to a young girl after a suicide attempt. It follows her home, manifests as this tall black figure, and then starts to inflict suicidal thoughts on the rest of the family. In both of these stories, the horror is completely inescapable and deeply, deeply personal.
So, okay, after breaking down all of these different narratives, what's the big picture? What do these digital ghost stories, these bits of modern folklore, what do they really reveal about us and about our fears?
This table really pulls it all together. The haunted house stories, they reflect our deep-seated fear of losing our safety, our sanctuary. The stories about cursed objects, they're all about the anxiety of accidentally inviting chaos and the unknown into our lives, just by being curious. And finally, these stories of personal attachments, well, they're basically powerful metaphors for inescapable trauma, for the personal demons that you just can't run away from.
And that leaves us with one last thought. You know, whether you believe these accounts are literal, factual encounters with the supernatural or not, one thing is for sure. They function as this powerful, collective language we use to express some of our most profound human fears. They are the folklore of our time, and maybe, just maybe, they're a mirror reflecting the anxieties that already haunt all of us.